Hey there, let's talk about the stock market. You know, it often gets this reputation for being super complicated, a world only for Wall Street pros. But honestly, it's one of the most powerful tools for building wealth. So today, we're going to break it all down. In just a few minutes, you'll get exactly how it works and, more importantly, why it matters. All right, let's dive in. You know, the entire multi-trillion-dollar stock market we have today, it really all started as an answer to a super simple but really old problem. And it's this one right here. How do you build something huge, something that could change the world, when you just don't have the cash to do it by yourself?
To get to the bottom of this, we've got to jump in a time machine and go all the way back to the 1600s. This was a time of incredible global trade, amazing opportunities, but also just unbelievable risk. Okay, so imagine you're a merchant back then. You've got this great idea to send a ship halfway across the world to bring back valuable spices. But think about the costs. You've got to build the ship, hire the crew, buy all the supplies, and then you just wait, maybe for years. And the whole time, you're just praying that one bad storm or one run-in with pirates doesn't sink your entire life savings. The risk for just one person was absolutely insane.
And this is where things get really clever. A few merchants had a truly revolutionary idea. They thought, hey, what if instead of one of us risking everything, we pooled our money together? Everybody could chip in a little bit and own a small share of the voyage. That way, if the ship sank, well, you only lost a little. But if it came back loaded with treasure, everybody shares in the profits. This amazing idea became official in 1602 with the Dutch East India Company. They created the world's very first stock market, and believe me, it changed finance forever.
So that's the origin story, which is pretty cool. But how did that old school idea turn into the blinking numbers we see on our screens today? Let's jump ahead and look at how stocks really work now.
When you boil it all down, a stock, or what's more accurately called a share, is really simple. It's just a tiny, tiny piece of ownership in a business. That's it. When you buy a share of a company, you are literally becoming a part owner, and you're entitled to a slice of their profits.
And this brings up a really key difference between companies. See, they usually start out as private. That means they're owned by a small group of people, like the founders and a few early backers. But when they want to get really big, they go public. Think about Apple. It started in a garage, owned by Steve Jobs and his buddies. But when they went public, suddenly anyone, you, me, anyone, could buy a small piece of Apple and become an owner with just a few clicks.
The million-dollar question, right? If the company isn't setting the price, then who is? What makes it jump up and down every single second of the day? Well, the answer comes down to the two most basic forces in economics, supply and demand.
And this quote it nails it. The stock market is basically a giant, living marketplace of what people think will happen in the future. It's not just about how much money a company is making right now. It's about what millions of people believe that company is going to be worth. It's this wild mix of hard data, fear, excitement, and pure human psychology, all wrapped up in one single price.
And this right here is the perfect proof. I mean, look at these huge companies. Amazon didn't turn a profit for 6 years after it went public. Uber, 4 years. And Tesla, a full decade. So why did their stock prices go up? Because people weren't buying what these companies were, they were buying the story of what they could become. Investors believed in the vision that these companies would one day rule the world, and that belief itself became incredibly valuable.
Okay, so now that we get the basic mechanics, how do people actually use this thing to make money? Well, there are a ton of different strategies out there, but they pretty much all fall into three main buckets, or three types of players in this big game. So let's check out the three main roles you can take on. You can be the shareholder, you can be the investor, or you can be the founder. They all have a totally different approach, but they're all using the same system to try and build wealth.
All right, let's break this down. First up, the shareholder. You could think of this person as a long-term partner. Their goal is simple: own a piece of a fantastic company for a long, long time, and just share in the profits as it grows. Then you've got the investor. They're playing a different game, one that's more about timing. Their goal is to predict the future, to buy a stock when they think it's a bargain and sell it when they think it's overvalued. And finally, you have the founder. They're not playing the market, they're creating it. They build a company from nothing, own a huge slice of it, and their whole job is to make that entire pie bigger for everyone involved.
So right about now, you might be thinking, okay, this is all interesting for billionaires and traders, but why should I care? Well, here's the thing. Whether you realize it or not, this whole system affects your life every single day.
The truth is, the stock market is the engine that powers our modern economy. It's not some abstract thing happening far away. When the market is healthy, companies have the money they need to grow, to innovate, and to hire people. Your retirement savings? Yeah, they're almost definitely invested in the market. The phone in your hand, the car you drive, chances are the companies that made them were funded by millions of people just like you through the stock market. It's what allows us to do big things together that none of us could ever do alone.
Which brings us right back to you. You get to choose your path here. You could be a shareholder, slowly and steadily building wealth by owning pieces of businesses you believe in. You could be an investor, learning to spot opportunities that other people miss. Or, hey, maybe you'll be a founder and build the next great company that everyone else is excited to invest in.
Because in the end, that's really what the stock market is. It's just a mirror reflecting our collective bets on the future. Every dollar invested is like a vote for a certain kind of world, a certain technology, a certain idea. So the real question isn't just about how you can make money from it, but what kind of future you want to help create. If you're still watching, now is a great time to give this video a like. Thank you so much for watching WealthPrint.